Let's take just a couple minutes this morning, and I'll try to make this quick, but I just want to give you a tip. And this is something I've used in my own business, and it made huge differences because it was more than just me. It was something my whole team got involved with. And it has to do with savings. Right now, as we're heading into this unsure economy, you're looking at what can you cut in the way of costs? What can you do to go out and build new business? How can you make up for these shortages or these other things that may come? And we have to be looking at all those things vigilantly. But one thing to really look at and try to get your team involved in is what can you save? And the last thing everybody wants to hear is layoffs, right? And cutting positions. However, that might be a reality in this, and it is the reality for a lot of businesses right now. Luckily, with the CARES Act, it may not be as bad for right now, but these are things you have to look at. More importantly, though, right now is get your team involved in looking at where they can cut costs, because that's one of the biggest changes, the fastest changes you can make to your organization. Is looking at how you're spending money and what money actually means to you. And the idea of what I'm going to throw out is called a random act of savings. And that may sound a little bit funny. It came up actually in a business meeting a few years ago with a bunch of my managers, the different departments that I had. And we had just gone through a month of doing random acts of kindness, where I told my employees, look, you drive around a big van with my sign with my logo on the side. It's a billboard. I want you to find random acts of kindness you can do, right? Come to a four-way stop sign, let the other person go, wave them on, wave hi, open the door for somebody. If you're in one of our uniforms, you should do that anyway. But it was just looking for random acts of kindness. Well, the next month we were at some financial changes in our business that happened. And a lot of this had to do with the 2008, 2009, through 2013, where things were kind of getting tough. And so we were hitting one of those pinch points. And in a meeting, I said, okay, this month's new focus, we're going to do a random act of savings, or RAS. And it turned into something that actually changed our company for the better. And I had a couple of managers say, what's that? I said, okay, well, next week when we meet in our staff meeting here, I want every division to come back with 2 random acts of savings, 2 RASs. It's a new requirement. And then go back to your team, talk to your team members, and have them come up with 2 ideas, things that we're doing. It doesn't have to be a major cut. I really don't care. What I'm looking for, though, is in their regular daily activity of doing the things that we're paying you to do, right, that we have to get done. What can you find that we might be able to actually save a little bit on? And bring those things back to us so we know what those are. I want to categorize them. I want to count them and figure out what kind of a difference that might make to our organization. The next week, it was really interesting. We sat down at the conference table, and in the center of it was stacked up about, I don't know, probably 15 Tupperware containers, little cheap sandwich type containers about that thick and like this. And I thought, well, that's cute. Okay, so they're all going to save money on lunch. Well, that helps them, and I'm glad that they're thinking that way, but I was kind of thinking towards the company. Well, once we sat down, I said, okay, talk to me about the Tupperware. What's going on here? That manager said, well, open them up and see what's inside. So I opened up one, and there was a roll of tape. Then I opened up another one, and there was staples, and instantly knew what was going on here. The team had been throwing away tape right and left. Now, I was in the restoration business at that time, and tape, the type of tape we used is a double stick tape for containments, was about $14 a roll. I think I got it wholesale for about $12.50, but the retail is about $14, $15. They were throwing away a lot of these rolls. In fact, actually, they estimated that at the end of the day, it just got thrown into the back of their vans with wet carpet, wet pad, wet trash, whatever else there was, and it pretty much got thrown away. They were throwing away at least a roll of tape a day, and at $15, that's quite a bit. They estimated that was about $200 in savings that could come just from the tape alone. And the staples, it's the same type of thing. We used a lot of staples to attach plastic, to do other things on our jobs, and they would get wet. And before you know it, they're rusty and broken up, and the packages were terrible, so they just throw them away. This savings, that they brought to the table, one of the other managers said, oh, okay, so that's a whole $200 a month you're saving us. That's great, and kind of kidding them a little bit. Then we realized the magic of the numbers. Let's do the numbers right now. $200 a month is $2,400 a year. If your business is netting 5% at the end of the day, okay, after you've paid yourself, you paid your business and everything else, and you have 5% going to your bottom line. Right now, nobody's netting 5%. We're lucky to even be netting a dime. But let's just say you're netting 5%. You could take that total savings per year, times it times 20, and that'll tell you how much business you have to do to make up that difference in that savings. Wow. So $2,400 a year times 20 is $48,000 in business. That's incredible. Take that $48,000. If your product was, let's just make it really simple, $2,400 on average, that's 20 jobs. 20 jobs a year I was doing to pay for the thrown away tape and staples. Think about that in your business. What does that tape and those staples represent in your business? What things could you do a little bit different that your staff knows and you don't know? Maybe you have some ideas, but what could they find? Have them look for that. It can make a huge difference in your business. $48,000 in business I was throwing away. I was doing all that risk, right? All that liability, paying for all the labor, doing everything else for a bottom line difference of that $2,400. Yeah, that's pretty incredible. Now, that's kind of extreme case, but it's a reality. And right now, those types of things are what we have to be looking for in our business. Yes, a $200 a month savings could be huge to your business. And you're going to find a lot more than that, because actually what we found is actually over about a year and a half, we took our nut to crack, right? Just that break-even point in our business, we took it down by about $100,000 a month. Now, in that time, we actually raised the level of business that we were doing. We were actually doing more revenue, so our profitability went through the roof, and it made an entire difference to our business. And a RAS became a way of life. It never stopped. We were always looking for a RAS. Yes, sometimes it was very silly. It was very small. It was like, hey, we're going to buy pencils and sharpen them ourselves instead of doing this. Or we're going to, I'm not throwing weird ideas out. But the reality is that the mentality of, I have a difference as an employee as to what I can do in savings. So I challenge you. Ask your teams to do a similar thing and do it yourself. Look for what you can save. What things can you actually do a little bit different to change that bottom line? We need every dime we can get to get through what's coming. I know you can do it. Keep positive. Keep your entrepreneurial spirit going. Keep that optimistic and that eternal optimist hat just on there nice and tight, and do what you need to do when you're looking at enthusing your business and getting it there and growing it and doing what you need to do. Take it off when you're looking at your numbers for a minute sometimes, because you got to make some cuts. They're going to be tough, and you got to look at some things real seriously, but then put it back on and lead your team. Get them thinking in a positive mode. Have them inspired, not depressed. They can't mope and grope. You can't mope and grope around your employees. You've got to be the positive one out there. I know if we do this, we're gonna make our companies rise during this time. I know it's going to happen. I'm already seeing it. I'm seeing wonderful things. I'm excited about the CARES Act. I've already talked a lot about that on some prior videos, but very excited about what that's going to bring to us as a little bit more runway. It just gives us time to be able to prepare more. So get in there, get it done, and let's get this week going.